I think it's time for me to make this video. I wanted to do it but for a while now, because I see a lot of debidences in the music community of these two genres. Hip-hop and rock. Both have their place in high standards of pop culture. Both are widely loved, and both are widely hated. Now, as a fan of both genres, I can say what a lot of people don't get. There's actually a lot of similarities between these genres, both historically and almost obviously. And I'm going to get to those comparisons. The reason why I'm making this video, because honestly, I see a lot of hate from both sides, and I kind of want to bring the music community together. So let's get to the most obvious. Both genres, hip-hop and rock, have African-American black roots. When you think back to rock and roll, you would reach the blues, right? That's pretty much where it all started. And some would say jazz, which I would agree. I think jazz is a big factor in rock and roll, what most people forget. But blues more so. So you get the blues, right? Boogie Woogie, Ragtime. And you pretty much mix all those genres together, ba-bam, you get, and put them in high tempo, ba-bam, you get rock and roll. Hip-hop, kind of the same thing. Now, hip-hop, as in terms, kind of has almost the same origin, as in it was a genre made by African Americans. What they did was, basically, when you go back to the 60s, you get this thing, late 60s, early 70s, you get this thing called funk music. So funk music, what influenced a lot of hip-hop day, was kind of a video of what was going on in the 50s and 60s. It was kind of a means to get that kind of boost up what rock and roll is losing at the time. Funk is kind of like a mixture between gospel, rock, and blues. If you put those things together, you get funk. Now, what happened for hip-hop was a lot of DJs back in the late 70s start experimenting with these records, right? Turntables and stuff. Well, what happened was, they noticed they really liked the sound of people like James Brown and others. So, but they wanted to do it in a unique way. So when you did like a boom, you kind of get this sense of vibration. Kind of the same way a rock was. Okay, the other one is attitude. Now, this one is tricky. I would say both of them have similar attitudes of life, but they have different morals. Now, that doesn't necessarily make it bad. For hip-hop, the morals affects the attitude of the time, depending on what time of hip-hop you're talking about, African Americans. You know, if you listen to those early records, they were talking a lot about poverty, racism, homelessness. They were talking a lot about all that stuff. Now, of course, there were more positive styles of hip-hop. Now, I don't think those messages are necessarily negative. They are, but they were speaking a place of social commentary, what was going on at the time of young African Americans. And late 70s, early 80s America. And this is the one, and on my own comparison, I feel like I don't hear a lot of saying about. And that is, rock hit its stride back in the 1960s. Now, a lot of people would say the 1950s, because that's kind of where the genre has been born, yes, but rock has hit this genre in the 1960s in some experimentation and all that stuff. In the 90s, rap hit this pole of experimentation. So, pretty much it had its golden years, pretty much. Now, some would say the 80s, which personally, I kind of like 80s rap over 90s rap. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of 90s rap I do like, but I prefer the 80s sound. It's just something fun, experimental, and also kind of that kind of loose energy of, 80s rap. And plus, I don't think 80s rap had much rules to it, while 90s rap, you had a lot of rules to it. Now, don't get me wrong, there was some in the 90s what kind of third away and kind of did the beat and path thing. But, for the most part, hip-hop hit its stride in the 90s. Let's be honest. By the way, this is more of a history thing. I'm not giving you my full opinion, even if I am. But this is more of a history thing. And I'm also trying to point out the similarities between hip-hop and rock. Because even though there is a lot of differences, I feel like these similarities are true. And I feel like someday we're going to see... I mean, we kind of have with new metal, but in a good way. We're going to see, like, almost kind of like a cross variation of, like, rap and rock. And I'm going to be honest, I'm going to see something totally controversial, I feel, but rap is rock's future. I'm a rock artist, okay? I love rock, I make rock, and it took me a long time to understand this, but rap is kind of becoming what rock once was. What do I mean by that? Well, let me put it this way. Rock has become, let's be honest, cliched. Very super cliched. You kind of, when you go to a rock show, you kind of expect what's going to happen. But when you go to a rap show, you don't know what's going to happen. So, basically, if you think about it in this form of light, rap in many ways is helping rock. Now, I'm not one of those people who verbally says, rap is the new punk. No. I don't think of that in that level. I do think of it in the level of the sense, though. Rap is the new punk as in... rap is doing something new and outstanding. But don't get me wrong though, there's a lot of good punk bands, rock bands out there what do good stuff. I feel like they're gonna hit their stride. One of my favorite rappers of the modern era, Kid Cudi, yes, I listen to Kid Cudi, don't judge, did an album back in 2013, I can't believe it's been that long, called Speeding Bullet to Heaven. It got a lot of negative reviews, but it's one of my favorite albums. It's a rock album. Good rock album. It got hated, right, because a lot of people didn't understand it, I feel. Even rock fans didn't quite understand it. What Kid Cudi was going for was setting the blueprint of what was about to come. Soon, we're going to see a lot of things. We may even see a lot of new African American artists in rock bands. And that's a good thing. We may see a lot of experimental things. Cat Kendrick Lamar, one of my, again, modern day rappers I kind of like, is releasing an album. It's not necessarily rock, but it's told to be rock influence. When it's coming out, we don't technically know, but it could be coming out pretty soon. Now, with all the things I told you, what do you think? Did I miss anything? Do you agree? And also, what do you think? Basically, what are the similarities between rock and rap? Let me know. And did I got everything too? That's what I really want to know. Like, because I love these genres to death. I think both genres are good in their own way, and I think they're quite similar. You'll be surprised how similar things. Go back and listen to the early days of hip-hop, and go listen to the early days of rock and roll and a pair or two. Yes, it's different in the sense it's a different genre, but I think you may find some personalities in it what may be kind of similar. Have a good day.